Okay, we are live. Guys, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky. Excited to welcome our guest tonight. We have got Harold Kench with us. How are you, brother? Thank you very much for being here, man.
Um, hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Now, you've just told me that tomorrow is your last working day. You're retiring tomorrow, which is
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm retiring tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, 28 and a half years as a teacher, wrapping it up.
Wow. Respect, brother. Respect. My wife is a school teacher, and I know she teaches the like a primary school, the young ones.
Uh-huh.
But she
Yep.
it's a tough job. Whatever age you're teaching, it's a tough job, man. So I've got a lot of respect for you.
Yeah, I'm certified K through 12, but I've been teaching middle school for the past, I don't know, 15 years. So it's blood money.
Yeah, but excited to go into retirement and
Yeah, well, the best part about retirement is the fact that, the Clare House is actually 8 hours away from where I live. My wife and I live on Long Island right now. I've been down here for 30 years. Uh, but we're 8 hours away from Clare House. So we only get to open up Clare House during like school breaks. But now that we're going to be retired and we're up there, she'll be open full time. It's awesome. I can't wait.
wow, so more time for the spooky action, which is which
Yeah,
is which is why you're here tonight, man.
that's right.
So
Here to
you've
spread
got
awareness.
yeah, so you've got the Clare House. Tell us
Hmm.
how you purchased this house. Tell us a little bit about the backstory and we'll get into the
Okay.
freaky stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So this house, Clare House, it's I don't know if you put a graphic up or whatever, but so people can see what it looks like or they go to the website or whatnot. But it's a pretty imposing manor when you look at it, right? It's a 10,000 square foot high Gothic Victorian stone mansion. Um, it's in my hometown where I grew up on the Canadian border in northern New York. I've probably driven by this house 1,000 times in my youth, never saw it once because it was always overshadowed by this monstrosity nursing home next door, this huge, huge brick structure. So you just wouldn't notice a small house next to a small house, 10,000 square feet, 3 floors. They tore the nursing home down about, I don't know, 8 years ago. And my wife, who is a city girl, she's from down here on Long Island. She used to come up to Augsburg with me once a year, and kind of as wifely duties. She didn't like it. She always said it was like going back in time because there's not much to do up there. And one day we were driving by that house, the Clare house, and she said, "What is that house? Like, stop the car. I got to see this place." I stopped the car. She said, "What is that?" I said, "I don't know. It looks like an abandoned house. Like, I've never saw it before." And she said to me, "If we could live in that house, I would retire up here." Well, that's all I needed to hear. I got on Facebook. I found out who owned the house. And I said to the guy, "Hey, listen, like in 5 years, my son is going to be graduating high school. And I would like to relocate up there. So if you're looking to sell, let me know." And he said, "Hey, that's perfect because my daughter also will be graduating in 5 years and I want to sell the house." Perfect timeline. Excellent. Well, 2 weeks later, he sends me a message. "Hey, we're going to put the house on the market now." So I think, oh man, you're like 4 years and 10 months sooner than I want to do this. But we couldn't pass it up. So we, made an offer. I think about 4 months later, we owned it. And we've been spending the next the last 5 years fixing it up. It was in terrible, terrible condition. We've been just putting so much blood, sweat, tears, and money into it that I think we'll be finished about maybe 20 years after I die.
Man. So obviously you had the 5-year plan, but the stars aligned and it just happened and you made it work and you got it.
We had to make it work. Yeah, we had to make it work, and it bumped up our timeline a little bit. But it's actually probably good that it did because now it's almost done. I mean, we haven't touched the third floor yet because honestly, I'm running out of steam, man. I'm 51, and it's I can't move like I used to, and hauling sheetrock and all this other stuff. It puts a toll on me. So we got I think 28 out of 38 rooms done so far, and the rest I don't know. We'll get to them, but not at a feverish pace like we've been doing the rest. The rest has just been like we got to go go go, get this stuff done. Every vacation we'd go up there and just plug away. Okay, what room are we doing now? I'd have to hire out some things because some things I'd start and couldn't finish. Some things I'd have other people start and I would finish. Learn an awful lot from YouTube because as a technology teacher, I teach woodshop, but That really doesn't teach you how to rebuild a 150-year-old home.
Hmm.
So praise be to YouTube. I was able to do a lot of the stuff myself. And like I said, 28 rooms done. It's we're solid now. It's livable now. It's not raining anywhere in any of the rooms now. Uh, New roof on, new plumbing, new wiring. It's just been a crazy crazy journey here.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of rooms, by the way. Blimey. Wow.
It's a lot of rooms. Yeah.
So what is the history of the house? Like, how, when was it built originally?
So sure, yeah. It was built in 1884 originally as a rectory, and for those non-Catholics out there, the rectories were all the priests lived. So the original St. Mary's Cathedral in our town was right next door to it, and you can see photos of it on our website. So the website's theclairehouse.com, CLAIRE house.com, theclairehouse.com. And on our homepage, we have pictures. We found old photographs, old postcards on eBay that have drawings of the church and our house on it, which is wild to me. So the priests lived in our house they built it in 1884. It took 11 months to build that house. And I think it was like $11,000. Like we have some of the paperwork from when it was actually constructed. Um, the priest lived there for 70 years, I think. And then in 1947, the original St. Mary's next door burned to the ground. Like they think it was a boiler fire. Uh, as it was burning down, the priests were like running in and grabbing relics and taking them out and putting them in our house for safekeeping. Um, so then what happened is they built a new St. Mary's church on a bigger plot about 10 blocks away. So then they built a new rectory. So all the priests moved into the new rectory. And then the Grey Nuns of the Sacred Heart moved into our house. So our house became an orphanage slash convent, or more or less a convent, but they would bring girls in to live there too. So then the nuns lived there for about 50 years. The nuns all worked at the nursing home next door. They were the nurses and they were the teachers at the Augsburg Catholic Central School. So once the nursing home got torn down, well, now there was really nothing left for the nuns to do. So they had all dispersed. They were all very old by then, anyhow. They had all dispersed to other places. The Mother House in Philadelphia, a few of them went to. And then our house went into private hands. So this guy bought the home and bought our house and the nursing home next door, uh, stripped all the copper out of the nursing home, and then skipped town and moved back to Columbia and left our house in utter disrepair and left his wife. And she obviously couldn't care for that big giant house, so she lived there for 7 years. She sold it to another family. They lived there for 7 years, and then they moved out. So we're the third family to live there. We just got to beat the 7 year mark at this point. And I think we're going to do all right with that. I feel like there was a lot of bad energy when we moved in the house. There was a lot of scary things. My wife even said to me at one point, like, we might have to sell this house. I think the spirits who were there, and and I got to preface this part with, like, I didn't believe in ghosts. I totally 100% did not believe in anything paranormal until you see one, and then you can't argue it anymore. So I think now that the ghosts see, like, hey, these are the good guys, and I had to talk with them too. My wife told me, like, you're not really supposed to open a dialogue with ghosts because it could lead to a whole demonic whatever. Again, I don't know this stuff. So I said, hey, we're the good guys. You want us here? Like, I just brought a crew up from New Jersey to put a new roof on because the house is so big, I couldn't find a roofer to do it. I said, we're going to fix this place up. It's not leaking through 3 floors and 3 roofs anymore. It's not leaking, all the way down into the living room. Like, we're the team you want. And I feel like that was a turning point. I feel like at that point, the ghosts were probably like, hey, this guy's correct. This is who we want here. He's going to venerate the home, fix it up. I mean, when you looked at it before, it was a haunted house, pure and simple. You look at it and you say, that is a scary, freaky place. Now people looking like, what a gorgeous place. I can't believe that was sitting here all this time. I mean, it had, you picture the quintessential haunted house. It had vines growing all over it and big dead trees. We cleared everything that was dead away. And now that you can actually see the home for what it is, it's just beautiful, limestone manor, Governor Marble and limestone manor. It's so beautiful. But it was hidden in this dark, dingy, crazy corner of a city block, just surrounded by dead trees. And Now it's not anymore. So I
Wow.
guess what I'm, yeah,
You've given it some love.
we've given it a lot of love. It's taken a lot of love. But it's a labor of love. We feel like we don't ever say we own it. We say we're the stewards. We're the stewards of Claire House.
Hmm.
The house belongs to, the world right now.
Yeah.
Although, well, the bills come in our name. But
Yeah.
no, we can't own it because it's been here long before we were here. It'll be here long after we're gone,
Hmm.
and that's part of our, part of our death plan when we finally go. Is my wife and I both said, "Hey, listen, like, I want to be cremated. I want to get mixed into some mortar, and like when they're doing stonework, put me there. Like, I need to keep an eye on this place. I put a lot into it. I need to keep an eye on it in the
Wow.
future. So I think we're going to be there forever.
Wow, man. So you've got a real strong connection to this place. Like
We
there's a
do.
real
It's
love there.
funny, there really is, and we feel like it's really brought together, part of the community as well. Like Catholic Charities is right on the corner there as well. Um, we did a fundraiser for them. We want to do something with the house to like to give back. So we've done a couple of fundraisers there. We're opening it up as we get there full time. We'll be able to do a lot more. But we've donated, rooms for the night to the local museums, yearly auction. Um, it's there for the community, just like the church wanted it there for the community. I hope I don't come off as a super religious guy because honestly I'm not. But when things fall into a place, I have to like admit, yes, these things are all falling into place.
Hmm.
Um, so we want to continue to help to give back to the community with the home.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. When you mentioned that you saw a ghost there, I suddenly have a million questions. Yeah, I'm very
Yeah,
excited to
sure.
hear how this began, how your experiences.
Hmm.
But the house
Yeah,
itself was on, you mentioned in the email before, it was on Ghost Hunters, the TV show. Was that,
right.
so
Yep.
was you on that as well?
Yeah. I'm on there. I make my TV debut.
Wow, man.
We're season 8, no, season 16, episode 8. It's called Diocese of the Dead. Ghost hunters came for a week and filmed in the house for a week. We were there, but they put us up in a hotel for the week, for a couple of reasons. One, there's just like camera equipment all over and sensors all over the house that we would just be tripping them constantly or tripping over them. And I also think another part of that reason is like, so that way we can't fake stuff. I can't have a secret little, lever I push and makes a chair fall over. Um, so they were there, they filmed it all. They'd call us in every day and, put us on and ask us questions. And at the end, they did a big reveal. They went and talked to the local historian who had some really wild info that we didn't have. One of the things being my kids and my wife had both seen a little girl's ghost there, and my nephew had all seen a little girl. I've never seen her. And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Like, why is there a little girl here? It was, a convent, and this is before I knew it had anything to do with an orphanage. And then it turns out, the historian for the city dug up an old newspaper clipping that had, a local family lost 3 of their children in a house fire down the street from us, 2 little boys and a girl. I'm guessing they were very poor and they couldn't afford a funeral, so they had the funeral in our house. So that's where the priest lived. They did it there. I'm thinking maybe that's her. Maybe she's sticking around because I don't know. Maybe she liked it there. Who knows? Um, she found out that she also found out that the Gardner family, who had donated the original land for the church and the house that it's built on, they were all buried in the crypt of the church next door that burned, in '47, along with, several priests and I think one bishop already. They dug all the bishops and the priests up out of the rubble, out of the crypt, and moved them to the new crypt in the new church, but they never took the Gardner family. So they're all still buried there in my yard. So
Wow.
we're thinking, okay, that's a pretty strong, point.
Yeah.
Also, the nursing home. The nursing home was there for years and years, and you can imagine like how many people. Nobody just moves out of a nursing home. You're there till you die, basically. So you think of how many people must have died in my yard. They were
Hmm.
still maybe still hanging around.
Wow. The headstone's still there of the family.
No, no, nope. They were in the crypt, so it was buried under the church.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's nothing there. Yeah.
Man, wow. So did the show get in touch with you because of the reputation of the place, or, do you sort of reach out to them?
No, I reached out to another paranormal group, like a local one, because I'd read about them in the paper, and I thought, hey, like, let me get another fresh set of eyes on this place. And this was even before I had seen anything, but my family had. So really, I felt like it was more for me to just kind of debunk what they were reporting to me. Um, it just didn't work out with that other group, the time constraints and when they were available, when I was available. So I thought, geez, like I have this really detailed letter that I wrote explaining to them everything. And I said, well, let me just send it to like some other place and maybe someone else will come and look at it. And sure enough, I sent it to Ghost Hunters, and almost immediately they got in touch with me and said, hey, like we're interested. There's a lot of phone calls that go on before any of this even gets, locked in stone. Tons of interviews and info and back and forth and checking stories, and then they said, okay, yeah, we're going to do it. And they came out and did their show, and it was great. They were a great group of people.
Wow, man. And I've seen a lot of Ghost Hunter. I need to go back and find that episode. That'd be interesting, man.
Sure.
It's always on telly shows like that, you know. I'll be all over that.
Mhm.
Awesome, man. So you've
Yeah.
moved into this the house, and so you never had any experiences prior to buying the house,
No,
moving to the house. Have you experienced
no.
anything strange before that moment?
No, I thought ghosts didn't weren't a thing. I really didn't believe in the paranormal. I love X-Files. I'd love to believe in it, but until you see it,
Yeah.
I didn't believe.
So no UFOs, no Bigfoot, no
No, no, man.
nothing.
I think I might pass out if I see a Bigfoot. UFO would be cool with.
So you were a non-believer. You,
Yep.
you you purchased this house, not experienced anything else. You move in with your family. What do they start experiencing? What was the first signs?
Almost immediately. Almost immediately. Huge bangs, loud crashing noises. Meanwhile, there's nothing in the house to make a crashing noise because it was empty when we moved in. Um, except they left a baby grand piano, and I think they only left that for us because he probably priced how much it cost to move one of those suckers, and was like, "No thanks," because I tried to have it moved as soon as I moved in, and I balked at that price and just ended up getting six friends to come over, and we all just about blew our backs out moving it, but we did it. Um, the I forget where I was going with that.
I mean, pianos are pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having a piano, to be honest. But if they start going off during the
Oh,
night,
we got it, but now we moved it to the
oh, you still got it.
oh, the loud crashes. Yes, that's where we were. So, oh yeah, we moved it to the second floor. I can't believe it. The stairs didn't collapse while I was moving that thing. I got a great video of that. Yeah, just loud bangs, loud crashes, doorknobs twisting. My kids would all sleep in the downstairs living room next to us. Um, bats. We had bats every single night flying over our heads.
Whoa, in the
Yeah,
house. Bats in the
in the
house.
house. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa,
So actually the one our dining room is called the Bat Cave. We name everything. We name every room. We name our vehicles. So that's the Bat Cave because our first night we slept in there was three bats flying over our heads, and I think one of them might have bit my wife. She had a cut on her head, so we all had to get rabies shots, and it goes by weight. So if you get the old version of the shots and you weigh 245 pounds like I do, you get 17 shots, 17
oh
needles.
man.
Yeah, so they would lots of noises, and then they started seeing things. My wife saw the woman we call the skeleton face woman. Both of my kids have seen her. Um, we think that's Mrs. Gardner or Mrs. Amo, who was the caretaker who died very young, had a bunch of kids who lived on the property. Her husband was the caretaker. The little girl they've seen, and they've all seen what we believe is Bishop Conroy. He's kind of the guy that started the whole thing. The first picture that started all this was we were having those trees cut down, and I was down here downstate, and I called my sister and said, "Hey, listen, can you go take a picture of the progress? I'd love to see what it looks like now with all these giant trees cut." So she sent us a picture. My wife posted it to our Instagram account. Now, at this point, we thought maybe we were just going to have like a B&B that was like we were tossing the idea around. So we had an Instagram page, put it up. About a week later, one of our friends said, "Hey, there's a guy in the window up there, right?" So I zoom in on the picture and I can't see a thing. And I'd show it to people, and about half the people would see it, half the people wouldn't. And then all of a sudden, like I saw it, and it's on our webpage under like our ghosts. That one picture, it looks like a guy wearing a big hat like the bishops wear, uh, with a beard. I can't not I can't not see it now when I look at that photo. And when I show it to people now, like 9 out of 10 people see it immediately. Um, okay, you got your computer right there in front of you?
Yes. Yep.
All
Do you want
right,
me
so
to, do you want me to look at
let's
it
just see
right
if you
now?
can do it. Yeah. Yeah, go to
Okay.
theclarehouse.com.
Okay. So here we go. The clarehouse.com. Right. Yep. Oh, this site can't be reached. What? Okay. Let me try again. I do type things in wrong. So
That's maybe you got to put the www
I'll do
sometimes.
that. I'll do that. The Clare House. Let's make sure I'm spelling it right as well. So C.
CLAIRE.
Yep. I spelled it wrong. Here we go.
Well, good. Then we know it.
Okay. Here we go. I'm in. Okay. Where do I go now?
All right. So our first, like a big pop-up is going to show there for Haunted Harvest, an event that we're running in October. Did that pop up yet?
Yep. That's
Big
there.
orange block. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, there you go. X out of that. You got to scroll all the way to the bottom for the X.
Okay. Right. I'm out of that.
Okay, now on the menus on the top right, I think, click that and go to Our Ghosts
Okay. Our ghosts. Yep.
and scroll to the first picture.
Here
And I
we
hope you
go.
see him.
Okay. Bishop was. Whoa.
All right, see, that's what I want to hear. Now
I
I got to
do
tell you,
see
and
it.
I'm going to tell
Whoa.
you and all your viewers out there, right? I swear on my children's, like, yeah, there you go. There's Bishop Conroy. I can see him in your phone right now. I couldn't see him for the longest time.
Wow,
Um,
man.
I'm telling you and everyone that's listening, man, I swear on my children's graves, I have not altered or have knowledge of anybody altering any of these pictures to make them look like a person or a ghost, or
Yeah.
they're not fraudulent as far as I know. Um, so I really doubt that, my
Whoa.
sister, my 60-year-old sister jumped on Photoshop to put a ghost in a window that and didn't tell me about it because that was just a small picture. So that, yeah, there you go. Bishop Conroy,
Man.
right?
Wow.
So we have a giant painting of him in his room now. We have one room dedicated just to him,
Hmm.
and it looks a lot like that one. And even when we brought the priest over, Father Morgan, which is kind of funny because you would think a priest wouldn't believe in ghosts. Not that he said he did or not, but my wife said, Father Morgan, I don't mean to be, insulting, but you know, how could it be like a man spends his life, in the service of God, and then he dies and he's still here and he's not like in heaven? And Father Morgan gave me the best answer in the world. He said, honestly, he said, we don't know. We don't know that stuff. And I thought, wow, that's a great answer, man. Yeah, okay, we,
Yeah.
we don't know that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Um, so yeah, and then if you
Wow.
even go down further from him, you'll see Mrs. Gardner, I think, or the skeleton face lady.
Oh, you caught her as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
So it
oh,
looks.
is that the next picture?
Yeah, there's two more down there. Two,
Whoa,
I
is
think
it
there's four
that one?
pictures total.
That one?
Yeah. Now to me, that looks like a lady in like a white blazer, right? Like holding the curtain back
Yeah,
with
man.
long hair,
Is
right?
that so? That's a different room? Is that a different room or
That's
is
yeah. That's on the first floor. Yeah. The first picture you saw was on the second floor. That's first floor. And then if you go down one more, I don't see that picture, but some people do. Some people see a face on that next one down, the third one.
in the window, right?
Yeah, it's always in the windows. So we always have people come by and take pictures of our windows. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I can't see it. My wife can see it immediately. I don't see it. A lot of
Okay.
people see it. I don't see it. Do you see any of
Listeners,
that picture?
viewers, watchers, if you see this,
I
you
can kind of see a face in there, but it almost looks like
man,
cartoonish.
interesting though, man.
And
So
then the last one down is it looks like a lady in like a 1930s get up with like a bowler cap. Like I put the photo next to it showing what I think it looks like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what
So
is
a guy
that?
took
Is
that with that's the second floor also. A guy took that with a drone one night. It did some cool night shots for us and sent
hmm
me that picture. Not, obviously I put the one on the right there to say like I see a lady in this kind of hat with a big flower on the front. Um,
So
so now go ahead.
sorry, man. So that was taken off a drone.
Yep. Yeah. Travel St. Lawrence County, drone footage.
Whoa, man. Sorry, what was you going to say, man? Before I cut you off,
So
Rick.
taking pictures of our windows has become like a pastime up there. People love to
Yeah.
come by and take pictures because they can spot stuff, and they'll send them to me, and you know usually I'm like, yeah, I guess, if you really stretch, you can see it. But some other times I'm like, yeah, like I believe that. But then it's like, again, like, I don't know these people. Did they Photoshop it? So I won't ever show stuff that I'm not going to say
Hmm.
that I know is not fake.
It does seem strange because a lot of people see things through windows. It makes you wonder, is there a reason why that is? Why
Right.
do
Yeah.
so many spirits get caught in the window and you see stuff in the window? Like my friend had an experience where he was he was going around his girlfriend's house and someone was waving at him in the top window and he sort of waved back and he saw the person
Uh-huh.
and then when he spoke to his girlfriend and he was like, "Oh, I saw your mum or whoever was in the top window," and she went, "No one else is in the house." And he went, "Well, was that who was I waving at then?" She went, "I don't know." And he bet he saw someone like in the window waving
Yeah.
at him, and apparently that
Yeah.
his girlfriend's house is haunted as well. So, I mean, it does seem to be weird that happens quite often. That spirits
Listen,
are,
I think in 100 years, Amazon is going to be selling ghost phones to talk to your dead grandmother, and nobody's going to blink an eye.
yeah, it's coming, man. It's coming. Yeah, for sure. There's technology out there that they're working on. It's wild, man. Wild stuff. So
Yeah.
when you bought this, when you bought the house, was you aware of the hauntings?
I was not. And it got to the point where when things started getting spooky and my wife was thinking maybe we don't want to live here anymore, that I went and did like a deep dive on the guy we bought it from his Facebook page. And I think it was either 7 or 11 times, and I screen grabbed them all. He says the place is haunted on his Facebook, random Facebook posts. And I screen grabbed them all and I printed them because honestly, I was told in New York, it's a law that you have to disclose if your house is haunted when you sell it. And at that point, I was thinking, Jesus, like, I'm gonna have to sue this guy. Like he never disclosed this, and if I'm gonna sell this house, like, I'm not taking the hit on it. Um, but then we
Wow.
grew, then we grew to love the ghost. So there you go.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a law in New York that you have to share that. That's
That's what I
interesting.
heard. I don't know. I should probably look that up before I tell that story, but that's what I
So,
was told.
I mean, it makes you want to know, right? If you're
Right.
buying,
Yeah.
if you're buying a house, but it's not a good selling point to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're into this sort of stuff. And sorry for the people watching on YouTube, you've gone very dark. It's got dark
Yeah.
there.
You know what? Yeah, the sun's going
I
down
can,
here. Let me
I,
move.
I can't see you anymore.
That's all right. Let me
It's
move
it's
here.
absolutely fine, but
I'm gonna jump up front.
I can see it
So,
gradually getting darker and darker and darker. Just,
yeah. I'm losing my
but it's
cell
cool.
phone.
Most people listen anyway. Just listen on
Yeah.
the podcast platform, so it's cool. No problem, man.
All
As
right.
long
I'm
as
just
as
gonna
long as we
pass.
can hear you, it's fine.
All right.
Oh, I've lost you.
Dark house.
Oh, I've lost you, man. It's gone all funny. Let me just pause it just for a second. Okay, we're back on. We can see you again. Welcome back, sir.
All right.
So,
Risen.
so did, so did your family have paranormal experiences? Did they have any
So,
experiences before the house?
uh,
Oh, I think our signal's bad here. Let me just pause it for a sec. Okay, we're back. We're back, brother. Sorry, man. Where
all
was we?
right.
Oh yeah. So
There's a
did your family have any experiences prior to the
no.
house? Anyone in your family?
No, no, not really. I mean, my wife, she grew up in a really old home, and I guess they believe like their grandmother was always around. But I feel like that was like the extent of it. My kids never had any kind of doings until we moved there, and then it was like somebody turned on the water faucet. And I feel like Ghost Hunters, when they came and did their show, they really focused on the kids' stories, like both of my kids and the my nephew. Like they left out like the great stories that my wife and I had. And I was like that to me, those were the good ones, right? Like those were from an adult coming. Granted, my kids were like 17 and 18 at the time, but yeah. So no, they've had no paranormal experiences until we get there, and then all of a sudden it's like something every night, pretty much.
Hmm. Interesting. Was it quite a concern to you at the time? Was you thinking, have I done the right thing, or?
Yeah, I was thinking we did the wrong thing by moving in. Uh, my one son moved out of his room after we just spent all his time and effort fixing up his bedroom. He wouldn't stay in there anymore because there was so much stuff going on. He would sleep on the couch downstairs, or he would sleep in the room across the hall. My one son would lock himself in his room, um, which was very annoying because when I try to wake him up in the morning, he sleeps, like the dead, and I couldn't get in. Um, so it just all of a sudden when we got there, it just turned on. Everything just started happening.
Man, so what was the moment for you where you were like, okay, this is real? Because at first you were
Yep.
saying you're trying to debunk it. I
Yeah.
guess you were
Yeah.
thinking maybe mass hysteria that you know.
Sure. Yeah. The first two things I've only, well, the first two, I've really had only two things that I would say are bona fide. So the one thing that happened is I was hanging out with my sisters. I have five sisters. We were all hanging out and my wife in one room talking about, so when Roe v. Wade got overturned, the abortion rights thing got overturned here in the States. We were all discussing that. Half of us were for the overturning, half of us were not. We know what side of the coin the church is going to be on that one. And I felt like we made the ghosts, the Catholic ghosts, angry because this massive pocket door that makes all kinds of noise when you close it and is very difficult to move effortlessly and quietly slid shut right in front of all of us. And everybody knows how heavy that door is because I never want to move it. Um, and we all just stopped and looked at it and we're like, okay, everybody saw that, right? That just happened, right? And then I went over to push it open. And again, it was like it took effort and it screeches and makes noise. And I pushed it all the way open again. And I said, oh, I think we probably angered, our resident Catholics. So that was the one thing that happened that got me really thinking about it. And the second thing that happened is my niece, who's a grown woman, and I were sitting in the parlor waiting for a food delivery. We had ordered food, and the house it has a doorbell, but nobody ever sees it. It like blends into the stone. So then they knock. We never hear it. It's such a big house. So people will just walk in. They end up walking in. We're waiting for the food delivery, and clear as day, a man walked down the hall in the center hall of the house. We're off to the side, and we both looked at each other like, oh, like the food's here. And I think I said something like, hey, man, we're in here. And nothing happened. So my niece said, you just saw somebody walk by, right? And I said, yeah, I thought it was the food. And she said, so did I. Well, I got up and walked around and looked. There was nobody in the house. And we both saw it. And once I saw that, that's when I became a believer. That's when I say, like, yeah, I didn't believe in ghosts either until I saw one.
Man, and was that like a solid form, what you saw? Like a,
The most I could tell you is it was just a guy in black who walked by. I couldn't tell you anything other than that because honestly, I thought it was the guy. I thought it was a food delivery guy. You never really pay attention to that.
Mhm.
So I wish I would have. I wish I saw more of it. I would like to see him again. I feel left out that I don't get to see him and
Yeah.
everybody else does.
Man, so did you say that was your niece as well that was with you that saw that?
My niece, yeah, my niece Madison and I.
And did she describe seeing the same thing that you saw? Like exactly the
Yeah,
same?
yep. And
Man.
it was her son who had spotted the little girl. I think he was maybe 6 at the time, and we had a Christmas party, and there were no kids allowed to come to the house for the party. I'm from a big family. I'm the youngest of 8. So we had the big Christmas party, said no kids. Not because, we're a wild and crazy crew, but it's because there's a lot of things to get hurt on in my house. There's low railings, steam hot radiators, like tons of stuff to get hurt on if no one's paying attention to you. But my nephew Camden, like he knows everything in the house. So I'm not ever worried about him. So he's allowed. So Camden came downstairs and he said he's asking his mother, "Hey, where'd that little girl go?" And I overheard him and I thought, "Wait, there's no other kids here." So, and his mom said, "There's no other kids here." And he said, "No, the little girl that was upstairs." He said, "She pushed me off her bed or the couch." So I said, "Show me where she was." And he walked us up to the room that we now call the little, I feel like we've always called it the little girl's room, even before this. Maybe my wife saw her there. That's why we call it that. He brought us to that room, and there's a day bed, which to him, he doesn't know the word day bed. So he called it a couch. He said, "I was sitting on this couch and she pushed me off." And then the man grabbed her and pulled her away. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, describe the man to me." And it wasn't very descriptive in it. So I said, "Oh, did he look like?" And we had some paintings around, pictures of past presidents. We're hanging up every president from George Washington to when the house was built in 1884, and then we're going to stop of their portraits. So I just started pointing at random portraits, and I'm like, "Hey, did it look like him?" Just trying to get him to say yes. Just 'cause then I could debunk it and go, "Well, it wasn't George Washington." So, um,
You never know.
and he went into the other room and he pointed to the picture, the painting we have of Bishop Conroy, and he said it looked like him. So now I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!
Wow.
Like, how many coincidences equal truth? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the formula? Because I think we're there."
I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
Yeah.
Not since doing this show, man.
Yeah.
Wow, though. That's wild.
Yeah, it's and another crazy tale I have for that house. It's like, and I got to put all this stuff in a video or something. I don't know, man. It's so our house was very prominent in the church, right? Because again, the bishops lived there. Well, they lived there until they became the bishop, and then they moved to the bishop's house on Washington Street. But the rector and everybody else lived in our house, and all the bigwigs. So there's our house is well documented in this book called The Parish of St. Mary's, I think, and it's like a leather bound book, cover book written by one of the nuns who had a doctorate. Outlines the whole Catholic Church history in our county and actually much of New York. So she wrote this book. It's on eBay, like you can buy it. So my wife found a copy of that book in on eBay. It was in Canada. So she ordered it. Meanwhile, there's pictures of my house in it. There's all kinds of information about my house. It's pretty cool to have your house in a book. So I said, yeah, like we need that thing. Let's get it. So we get the book, bring it home. On the very first page, there's an inscription who the nun had written it to and signed it. That nun, we know uh, several of the names of the nuns who lived in our house. The nun who wrote the book lived in our house. We didn't know that. But at that time, then we figured it out. Okay, oh wow, she lived in this house. That's why it's so prominent in the book. Well, at one of the parties we had, my brother-in-law's sister saw that book on the counter because we have it out on display. We have post-it notes marking the pages where she talks about the house, and she's looking through the book and she says, "You know what's funny?" She says, "I had a book like this. I had the same book. I found it. Someone was throwing away a bunch of books. They were all out on the curb waiting for the garbage man, right?" She walked by. She said, "I couldn't let all these books go. They were beautiful. I took them all home and I put them on eBay and they all sold." And then she went to the first page of our book and said, "Oh my God, this is the book I sold." She said, "I sold it to someone in Canada," because she recognized the writing that was on the first page. So she found that book in Ogdensburg being thrown away, took it, put it online for sale. Someone in Canada bought it. My wife found it years later in Canada on eBay, bought it, and now the book made it back to our house. Like again, how many like put that in the coincidence, ratio of truth now? How does that happen? And I my hand before God, like I'm not making this up. This is unless Janelle was lying to me about the whole thing. But again, why would she lie? How would she know we got her from Canada?
Yeah, that is wild, man.
Yeah.
So since being in this house, and I'm guessing your total worldview has changed once you realize this stuff is real. How has this changed you, man? It must have changed you slightly.
Well, I feel like I was probably very, I don't know, what's the word, cynical, I guess, before. I would just think, these people are nut jobs and it's not real and, get a life. And now it's like, how could I be so dumb? Like to just poo poo something. And I think back to like, before the microscope when some doctors were like, no, there's these things called germs. We can't see them, but that's what's making you sick. And
Hmm.
all the other doctors would say, you're crazy. That's not real. Like I don't want to be that. I don't want to say no, that's not real because I don't prove to me it's not real, and maybe I'll agree with you, but I'm not just going to say it's not real because you can't prove to me it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I feel like it's probably opened up my eyes and my mind.
Yeah, and the possibilities are endless once you're open to this stuff.
Yeah,
You're
well, and
probably
I
going to
mean,
start seeing more, man, especially when you're
yeah,
living there
I
full
would love
time.
to. Hey, I'm with it, man. Let's do it. We so again, when we were thinking about the whole B and B thing, once all this started happening, And I said, hey, maybe we need to change gears here. Like, let's call this a haunted B&B because A, I don't want people to stay here and then get freaked out because they see something. And now it's like they give me a 1-star review. Like I want them to come here and experience this. Like this is for the world, man. This is for everybody. This is not just for us. So we marketed ourselves as a haunted B&B, and to this date, every guest that we've had stay there is there because they're into the paranormal. And we've met the nicest people, the greatest people come in with all their little gadgets and gizmos, and I don't know what half of it is, but they try to explain it to me, and I'm just like, okay, I just yes them to death. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they the next day at breakfast, every day, every breakfast so far, people have been happy. They're like, yeah, listen, this happened or this happened. And, some things, more things happen to some people than others. And I love it. I'm like, hey, perfect. Great. Tell your friends.
Yeah, man. Is there any experiences that stand out from guests so far that?
So, yeah. And I never really wanted to tell people this story because I didn't ever want to influence them. But the one room that we have, Bishop Conroy's room, again, the window where everything started. So my one friend had stayed there. And the next morning he said, listen, the weirdest thing, like in the middle of the night, something grabbed my foot and held onto it really tight. And I said, well, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I never heard that before, but okay. The very next guest, who was someone who we didn't know, just, booked it and stayed. And he said, the weirdest thing last night in the middle of the night, the sheets got really tight around my feet for like 10 seconds. Like somebody was pulling them tight to my feet. And I said, oh my God, my friend, I told him my buddy Joe's experience. So now when people stay in that room, I say, listen, just tell me when the weird happens. Like I don't want to influence you, but tell me tomorrow what happens. And it's never happened again. So I'm like, oh man, it's got to happen one of these days. But yeah, that's
Man,
that's the that's the reoccurring thing that we've seen there a couple times.
yeah.
Um,
And
a
that's
lot
two
of
different
the
people having the same experience.
two
That's
people who don't
pretty
know each
cool.
other stayed in the same room, had the same experience, not far apart from each other either. So time wise, so that was pretty cool. A lot of these LED light things that they put out, those things are always popping off. And we had some guests stay. So we have what's called an altar stone in the house. So Catholic churches um, have this thing called an altar stone. It's a stone they put in the altar. It's got carvings of crosses on it. It's about the size of a record, and it's got a little hole carved out of it where they put the bones of two saints, and then they seal it up. I have one of those in my house. I have the bones of saints in my house, so I don't know what those go for on the dark web, but somebody let me know. Um, when the church burned next door, and it had soot on it, and it was cracked. The corner was cracked off. When the church burned next door, part of the news clippings that we have explain how the priests and all the local men were running in, grabbing whatever relics that they could and taking them out. And they put them all in my house because that's where the priest lived. Somehow, e- everything was taken to the new church except this altar stone, which was in a plain wooden box in the bottom of a storage area in the basement, had like cans of paint on it. Um, and I dug it out one day and I thought somebody was practicing like gravestone carving because of the crosses in it. And I put a picture of it on a Victorian page, a Victorian household renovation page. And a priest was on that page and he said, that's an altar stone, and gave me the whole education on what an altar stone is. And an altar stone is either supposed to be venerated or buried in consecrated ground. Well, we found it during COVID. So when we had the priest come over to bless, so we saged the house in the beginning because we were freaked out. I had the rector come over and do a blessing. And I said to him, listen, we have this stone. What should we do with it? And he said, well, listen, I'll get back to you. We'll see what we can do with it. Um, and then we just never heard, like it fell by the wayside again because it was COVID. Like everything was so crazy back then. So we just left it in the basement in this one spot. I said, listen, I don't want to mess with it. I'll leave it where we found it. But now we've made a prayer nook in the house with a little altar. My wife cleaned it with, baking soda and Bon Ami and got all the soot off of it. So now it's there with its candles and the Bible, and that's where she does her, prayers every day, is right there at the stone. So now it is being venerated,
Hmm.
which is nice because it's been in this dark basement for the past, I don't know, 50, 60 years, just in a corner of a dark, wet basement. And now it's out in the light and everybody gets to see it every day.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
what sort of things did your wife see? How did that start?
So she has certainly seen the little girl. She has seen Father Morgan, not Father Morgan, Father Morgan's who blessed the house. She has seen Bishop, who we believe is Bishop Conroy. She's seen the thin woman. They call my kids just started calling her skeleton face lady, and that's unfortunately the name that stuck. She has seen all those. One night, she thought I was laying next to her in bed, and even touched my shoulder. And but I wasn't. I'd gotten up. I couldn't sleep. I went to the other side of the house and I was watching TV. And she came in and she said, "Who are you on the phone with?" And I said, "Nobody. I just been here watching TV." And she's like, "Like you were just laying in bed, like talking to someone on the phone." I thought. And she said, "You were wearing a blue T-shirt." And I forget what I was wearing, but it wasn't a blue T-shirt. And I said, I've been here for like 2 hours watching TV." She says, "I'm telling you, I touched you. You were there. You were talking." So I'm thinking like, "Oh my God, do I have like a doppelganger, or was it like was there a ghost there hanging out in my room?" And talking to her, but she thought he was talking on the phone. So that happened. That was definitely a freaky moment. I guess those are her big moments right there.
Man. And you said the show focused on the kids, on your kids.
They, yeah,
What
they focused on what the boys had seen. They focused on the little girl. That was a big part. What they didn't show on the show, and I was kind of annoyed with it, but whatever. Like I don't make TV shows, so I don't know what I'm talking about. When they do the big reveal to us at the end, and we're all sitting around, they let us use headphones to hear like the recordings that they made. Because when you just listen to it on the laptop, you're like, ah, yeah, maybe I hear somebody say something. But then when you put the headphones on, like you could hear it clear as day. So clear as day, I heard a kid say, "I'll ask my mom." And he actually said, "My mom. I'll ask my mom." There's a big British influence up there. Like the War 1812 was fought there. Um, so they didn't put that in the show. Maybe because you couldn't hear it over TV. You really needed headphones on to hear it. And then another little kid says, "I'll ask my mom." And oh, they say the guy Steve Gonzalez, the guy from Ghost Hunters, Gonzalez. I'm going to say his name wrong. I feel like they say his name in it too. And again, you hear it on the headphones, but you can't hear it on the laptop. So I thought, oh, those were awesome. Like I wish they would have included those, but I guess it just didn't work on the TV.
interesting, man. Yeah, because that's quite a big thing, to capture a
Yeah,
voice and a clear voice.
right.
Man,
The another interesting fact with the house is we have what's called the hidden room. So one part of the house on the back part has a second floor. The whole house is 3 floors, but there's one small addition off the back with a second floor, and it has dormer windows, like doghouse dormer windows. I always thought they were just for look, like part of the design of the house, because there's no way to get to that room. There's nothing there. So I had went as far as to bang holes in the plaster on the joining wall where it is, and wound up with nothing but 23 inches of stone wall behind it where I had to patch the plaster back up. So one day I had a man lift. I was outside doing work on the roof, and I put it up to that window, and I could see in the window there was furniture in there. It was dilapidated. It was falling apart. All the plaster had fallen off the ceiling. It was a huge mess. But it clear as day. It was a room and it had plumbing. And Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters actually goes into this room. Um, and he did get one part wrong about going to that room because he went in at nighttime. He probably should have went in the daytime. He could have seen it better. But in that room, when I went in, you could see there was a stairway at one point. You can still see there's like 3 steps. He might have thought it was just a closet, but if you go into it, it's was used to be the stairway. There's 3 steps that are still there. They ripped out the rest of them and then put a ceiling in underneath it, which is now the laundry room. It was a bathroom and a storage room. Um, so they sealed that room off, and we were trying to figure out like why would you just seal a room off? Why would you not? I mean, you're paying taxes on that square footage. Why are you not using that square footage? So we just didn't know. It was a mystery. Only way to get in now is through the window, second floor. Well, fast forward about 3 years, my sister, who goes to church every day, um, sat with a woman. I think she was a nun that lived there, and she was explaining to her that a nun ended up being a shut-in who lived there. She lived in that room. She had her own bathroom, her own sink. They would bring her food up and leave it at the door every day. Come up and take the tray the next day, bring it down. One day they brought the tray up. They go up to get it the next day. The tray's not touched. She passed away, right? So she passed away in that room. And then when she died, they just sealed it up. They closed it off. Now, going back, we had thought maybe that it was what was called a disappointment room, which is a thing that they used to do in the past, where if you had a special needs child, you would they would just live in that one room. You'd put them away because nobody in society, you didn't want anybody to know you had a special needs child. And then once that child died, you would just wall off the room and pretend they never existed. So we thought that, but then again, we thought, well, no, because like it wasn't a private home. It was a convent. It was a rectory. It was part of an orphanage. They just wouldn't do that. Um, and then it comes out that this sister had died in there. And I thought, well, okay, but why? Why, if she died in there, why seal it off? Jason from Ghost Hunters, he heard somebody praying in there. So I'm imagining she just stayed in there and prayed all day long until, she didn't.
Man.
And every time we would try to get in that room, something would happen. Now, keep in mind, this place is 8 hours from where we live full time. So we can only get up there on long weekends or, long vacation time. It's not worth it for a weekend trip. So every time I'd make a plan to get in that room, something else would happen that would take our attention. One day we went up to do it, and my brand new aluminum soffit around the roof was blowing off. And so I had to go rent the man lift and get up there and like put new screws in to hold it all in before it all fell off. One day we went in, I had a massive water leak. I had to fix the plumbing because, I was flooding the house. So then I couldn't get in the room. Another time I tried to get in the room, I was cutting a baseboard heater to make a doorway to get in, and I burned myself when I was soldering. I burned myself terribly on a slag of solder fell on my fell on my hand. So then I was incapacitated. I couldn't do any kind of construction work. So every time we tried to get into that room, something would happen. And eventually we got to the point, and I had to talk with the ghost, and I said, hey, listen, all right, this room is yours. I'm not coming in here ever again. I did open up the window and blow like 2 feet of insulation on the floor just to try to keep it warmer in the house. But I said, it's yours. You can keep it. We sealed it off. I sealed up the windows, and we're never going to go into that room again.
Wow. So,
Not that it would have been a good room anyway, because to be honest with you, it's such a small room, and the floor space I would have lost on the first floor to put a stairway back in would
mhm,
would negate the square footage I would have gained up there. So it would have been a wash anyway. And now I got less stuff to eat.
yeah. Wow, man. There's so much mystery to this place. So many different rooms, corridors, and
It's so wacky, man. And we would find doors that they had sealed off. Every room in the house had a sink when we moved in, which I thought was the weirdest thing. They probably had it chopped up into a lot of different bedrooms for all the different, staff that lived there. And I guess everybody needed their own sink to, whatever, shave and brush your teeth in the morning. But we had found doors, pocket doors, that were just sealed off, like big, beautiful pocket doors, nailed shut, and then they put sheetrock over them. So, I was doing some renovating and poked a hole in the wall and found out there's these big, beautiful doors. Found the same thing. I was cutting a hole in the wall to make a bedroom, to combine a bedroom next to my bedroom to make it a bathroom. And what's the first thing I hit is this big giant wooden door, and I did a big number on it with a sawzall, but it's part of the story now.
yeah,
Um, and there's another door that was to a pantry that they just sealed off, and you go in the basement and look up, and you say, "Oh, clearly there used to be stairs here, and there's a door there that goes to nowhere." Um, I would just love to see what the house looked like originally before all these weird, construction things started going on.
yeah, man. Is there any images of like the original, any
I,
drawings or anything?
we can't find anything to do with the architect. We did a deep dive on the history. Originally, the church was very helpful with it all. But then I feel like they kind of started giving us the cold shoulder because I feel like maybe they thought we were trying to build some kind of a lawsuit because they had just um, pled guilty or took responsibility. Massive child abuse sex scandal in that church in that county. And it had all just come to like the settlements had just come out. So I feel like maybe the church thought, hey, why are they asking so many questions? Are they building another case for another person? So then they quit giving us anything, which was a real bummer. But I'm going to work on that when I get up there full time.
Yeah,
But I
man.
do have a super blurry picture of the house from way back where it has another porch on the side. I got it out of a newspaper. from a microfiche from way back. It was pretty cool. The old postcards we have are awesome. Again, those are all on our homepage there. All the photos, they're all on the homepage. You can scroll through the old photographs of the house. It's pretty neat.
Hmm. Well, awesome, man. Can I ask you some of your kids' experiences, what they saw, and what experiences stand out?
Sure, the doorknob rattling is both of them. That's a constant thing. Before we had locks on the doors, my son Caleb had this massive piece of granite that I don't know why it's in the house, but it was there when we moved in, and it's still there now. He would put this giant piece of granite in front of his door because the door would swing open in the middle of the night. Um, he put the granite there, it stopped swinging open. Uh, my son Harry called my son Caleb next door and said, "Stop messing with my doorknob." And my son Caleb said, "I'm in bed. Like, I'm not touching your doorknob." And then Harry peeked his head out the window, and that's our door rather. And that's when he saw the little girl hiding around the corner. Um, and Caleb's seen the little girl also. They both seen Bishop Conroy. Um, they both seen the skeleton face lady. I've not seen her yet. Um, so yeah, they were pretty spooked out in the beginning, both of my kids. I think they've come to, understand it now and not be afraid of it. Um, Plus, they're also, one's off to college and one's off to the army here soon. So
Oh, wow.
it's, yeah,
Yeah,
they don't
man.
have to deal with it for a while.
Yeah. So did they see these the ghosts as like full-bodied apparitions? Do you know how they saw them basically? Oh, we froze. Oh, we're back.
Lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, we're back, brother.
Yeah, and I'm gonna grab my. Let me hop inside and grab my charger here too.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'll pause it for a sec. Okay, we're back. So the last thing I said is, how did the spirits manifest to your kids? How did they see them? Were they like full-bodied, or?
Uh, Little girl was full bodied. Skeleton face lady was full bodied. Bishop Conroy full bodied. Yeah, I feel like they haven't seen the ghostly apparitions. I feel like they've seen full people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Man, the skeleton face ladies, that sounds terrifying. I'm getting like, the cartoon character Skeletor. I'm getting that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
vibe with the skeleton face. Is that how
I
she
It's
looks?
probably an undue nickname we've given her. I think we it just sounded better than the very thin lady, I guess. So it's probably
But has she got a skeleton face? Because that is terrifying.
it's yeah, yeah, I guess so, right? I mean, I haven't seen her, so I don't think I want to either.
Has your wife seen her?
Yes, yeah, yep. So I would just love to know if is it Mrs. Gardner or is it Mrs. Amo?
Hmm.
I'd really like to figure that out.
It's a difficult question, but what do you think these things are? Do you think these are, trapped energy, or do you think they're still living in the house and they're just in another dimension, another realm? What do you think they are?
Well, I learned from Steve Gonzalez uh, the two very cool terms that again, I wasn't a ghost guy, man. I didn't know any of this stuff until they came, and it was a real education. So there's a thing called a residual haunting
Hmm.
where things like a jiggling doorknob, because that doorknob had been turned a gazillion times over 100 years, it retains a memory, and that's really what you're hearing. The doorknob's not really moving, but the noise is still there. Now, our house is made of limestone. Limestone is a what do you call it? Receiver store, like it can store energy. Limestone, like on the electronic level, the
Hmm.
electron level, it can a repository. It can store power. So the belief is okay. It can store power. What are living beings at their basics were energy. Like you call it the spirit maybe, but it's something's making us tick. So why can't that be recorded in this massive battery of this limestone home? And that's what we're hearing. Not really that it's I forgot the other one, not active haunting, but I don't think that the ghosts are there and could say like, "Hey, I don't like that song playing on the radio." I think they're just there doing what they did all those times for all
Hmm.
those years, and it's like a memory and a loop that's caught. Um, It'd be awesome if you could talk to them and they could be, if it's more than just a playback, that'd be pretty cool.
Hmm.
but who knows? So that's what I think. I think it's just stored energy. It's still there. Who knows how that works? But um, I'd like it to be something else. I'd like it to be a interactive experience.
Yeah. Well, you definitely, I know you've already got a lot of teams turning up there doing experiments and stuff, but there's going to be a lot more, and I'm sure a lot are going to be doing those kind of techniques where they talk to the spirits and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah. So
you,
I'm sorry to cut you off there. The one of our last guests actually came over from Canada. They were, super into the investigative stuff. They had all the little doohickeys and whatnot. So we don't usually bring people into the basement, because at the time, like that's where the altar stone was. Um, it's dark down there. The floor is uneven. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But we really hit it off with these guys, and we're like, all right, listen, like you guys want to go check out the altar stone? Like I'll show you the altar stone. Let's go. So as we went down, they had this, I don't know, it was an app or a box, but it would say things. It wasn't a spirit box. Maybe it was a spirit box. I don't know, but it would talk. It would say random things. And right before we went down, and we were giving them the talk of, hey, we'll take you down. I'll show you this. Watch your head. It said, clear as day. It said, I'm angry. So we're like, ooh, that's a little scary. Okay, it's angry. Like somebody here is angry. And then we kind of laughed it off and we walked downstairs. And then right when I flipped the light switch on to the storage room where the altar stone is stored, the light bulb popped and went out. I don't think I've ever had a light bulb pop in my whole life. And that happened. And as soon as that happened, their camera battery went dead. And they're like, but this was fully charged when we were upstairs. How can it be dead already? So I'm thinking, oh, this is like a lot of weird things happening. Again, how many coincidences equal a real thing? So with those kind of things happening, that makes me think like, all right, maybe it's not residual. Maybe there is something going on here. And soon after that, that's when we took the altar stone upstairs and put it, in a place to be venerated and respected and seen. And I don't really know that much has really happened since then. But again, that was like the last trip up there, so
Mhm.
we got a lot of time with nobody there.
Yeah, man, interesting. So obviously you're going to be there full time soon, and I'm
Yeah,
sure that's when the fun's really going to begin.
yeah,
Hopefully all positive. We don't want no negative stuff happening, but
yeah.
very interesting, man. Very interesting. So people can stay there now and
Yeah,
visit now.
they can book it through Airbnb or they can book it through our website. They can pick their rooms. Bishop Conroy's room is always the first to go because that's I feel like the most stuff happens in that room. Um, and we actually have a chair in there for Bishop Conroy. I was always saying, hey, we should put a cool chair in here for the bishop and like put a velvet rope up and say like, this is his chair, nobody sit in it. And that was like kind of the running joke between my wife and I. And then one day my sister, Jenny, texts me and she says, hey, come get this chair off my porch. Dad put it here because he thinks it would be good in your house. So I'm thinking, what are you talking about? What chair? I look at a picture of it. It's this massive oak chair with like a cross carved in it and like red leather. And somebody was throwing it away. And my father saw it on the side of the road and said, hey, like, that's a beautiful chair. It can't be garbage. Again, like the book that was getting thrown away, right? Ends up at my house. This chair is getting thrown away, ends up at my house. I put a picture of it on Facebook, laughing like, "Hey, look, my dad, the garbage picker, finds this chair, puts it here." And a guy I know messages me, says, "Hey, I just threw that chair away." Again, like I hadn't spoken to the guy in years. He says, "I just threw that chair away. I got it from my sister, who it came from like a church in another town close to us." He says, "She gave me two of them. I don't need two. I've been looking at two of them. I figure I will just keep one." So he threw the other one away. That one ends up picked up by my dad, put in my sister's house. I go pick it up, put it in the bishop's room now, and I have a velvet rope across it and a little offering jar. So I tell people, hey, you want to take your selfie in the bishop's chair, go ahead, but leave a little something for Catholic Charities there in the jar. And then I forgot about it, right? I totally forgot the jar was even there until I was in there doing something the other day because it's on the bookcase. I never look at the bookcase. The jar is full of money. I didn't even realize. So like, all right, I guess we've had honest guests. Nobody's helped themselves.
Wow, man. So when are you in there full time? When are you moving? You might have said already, but when are you actually going
Yeah,
to
so
be?
we leave Monday, man. Monday, I move.
Wow.
Yeah, we put my kids on the plane on Monday. They're flying to London, and we don't turn around. We just keep driving north, and then we'll be up there. Actually, I'm going to stop at camp for a few days first to get some things done. But then probably about July 4th or 5th, we're going to be up there full time, and that's going to be our new life, man. Just up there doing the haunted B&B thing.
Awesome. Awesome stuff, man. Well, it sounds like very exciting times ahead. And it's going to be interesting to see how your story progresses because I feel like right now, obviously, a lot has happened, but it's just the start for you guys, man. So it's very interesting.
And very exciting. Yeah, who knows where it's going to lead to, but listen, it's all in God's hands. I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do.
I'm going to come and stay over there, man. I need to get over there. I want to
Hey,
come in
you're
the
more than
bishop's room.
welcome, man. We're going to put you guys up whenever you want to come over.
That would be
Absolutely.
amazing. Well, thank you very much, brother. Thank you for coming on, giving us your time tonight and sharing your cool experiences. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. So they can find us on Instagram at theclairehouse.com, the Claire House. Again, that's CLAIRE house.com. We're on Facebook, The Claire House. We're on the web, theclairehouse.com. Those are our three big ones. I don't think I got a TikTok going yet, or maybe I do. I don't think so.
There's so
I figured
many.
that was enough. Yeah, that's enough. I'll stick with those three, and we'll go from there. And we post kind of pretty often. I like to get a little silly with my posts. I post some funny things about the house and the ghosts, and I try to reference local businesses and all of those as well, just to be crazy.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff, brother. Well, I wish you the best of luck. You obviously your last day at work tomorrow, retiring tomorrow. So
Yeah,
good luck with that,
yeah.
man, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I wish I could retire tomorrow, man. That'd be amazing.
Hey, you can just leave. Just
You're
don't go
right. I'm
back.
doing it. I'm doing it. I'm retiring tomorrow as well. Brother, thank you so much, man. Keep us posted. If anything else happens, let us know. I'd love to
Yeah,
talk
for
to you
sure.
again, bro. So thank you very
Yeah,
much. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out the Claire House. It's very interesting, and maybe we should all go over there and stay. Give it a couple of nights in there and see what
yeah.
happens. But guys, we'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.